This is Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you drive long haul, short haul, or heavy haul, they're here to empower and inspire women in the trades on tncradio.live. So gear down, sit back, and enjoy.
Welcome to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. Our show is designed to empower and inspire women in trucking, in the trades, and everywhere. I'm Shelley, and
I'm Kathy.
Today we have a very special guest with us, Lynda Maschek, who's a member of Real Women in Trucking and a former truck driver turned registered dietitian. Lynda works with women drivers who are trying to balance their career with their family and their health. As a certified diabetes educator, Lynda helps women drivers manage diabetes on the road and teaches them how to fit optimal nutrition and exercise into their on-the-go lives, which is extremely challenging. Recently, Lynda spoke at the She Trucking Expo on how to handle your hormones on the road, from PMS to menopause. Lynda believes your health is your wealth, especially in the trucking industry. I like that motto. Welcome, Lynda. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
Thank you, ladies. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
If you wanted to tell us a little bit about how you got started.
Well, I came up during the beginnings of the feminist movement, right? So there was that inspiration and empowerment that started back then. So my full circle story is what I call it, that after high school, I worked in a warehouse. I drove a forklift and a tow motor. And I would watch that guy out in the parking lot who was backing in trailers all day. And that looked like a lot more fun. So it was a union shop. And when the opportunity came up, I bid on that job. And I was the yard jockey for a couple of years. So that's where I learned how to handle something that big. And also, honed my skills at backing up. So, that was kind of like step one. Mm-hmm. And then step two was, again, I was a little tired of that. And we had our own drivers, our own, leased trucks. They were company drivers. And so then I bid on an opening to go out on the road. So I already knew how to back up. I just had to learn how to shift and go up and down hills and handle traffic, every day. So I did that for 12 years. I covered 5 states. 5 Midwestern states, 5 Midwestern winters, but I loved it. I loved driving every day. Most of my deliveries were to stores. So they were like giant drugstores, right? And we handled everything from shampoo, mouthwash to lawnmowers, just about anything you find in a supersized drugstore. That's what I was carrying. And so since most of my deliveries were in stores, and sometimes these stores were in the mall, I would have half hour, an hour, and, I could go shop a little bit. So really, I had the best of both worlds going on there. But, I got restless again. And a time came when I decided that I was ready to do something else. I wasn't going to move up on the leaderboard, right, to change my position on what runs I could get. There wasn't another position within the company that I wanted. So I didn't know what to do. I really did not know what else I wanted to do. I'd been there a long time. So there came my daily prayer for a couple of months. My daily prayer every day was, Lord, get me out of this truck. Show me what I'm supposed to do. And the third part of that was help me stop drinking, because that was an issue too.
Okay. So
a few months later, the universe responded and the company closed. Very quickly. So wow. Just like that, my life changed. Now what was I going to do? I really wasn't looking for another driving job, but I just did not know what to do. But I found out as a displaced worker that I could get tuition help from Uncle Sam. So I always wanted to try college, so off I went. It took me 5 years. I earned a degree in nutrition and became a registered dietitian nutritionist and certified diabetes educators. And after I graduated,
yes, absolutely.
I spent most of my career in corporate wellness. And then again, decided that I wanted to pivot again, and I started Well-Driven Nutrition, geared towards women truck drivers. So I've come full circle from being a woman driver to now, serving women drivers.
I love the name of your company, Well Driven. That's excellent.
Well-Driven Nutrition, right? That's the whole idea.
It's
awesome.
interesting how things come full circle. Kathy, you have a medical background too.
I do. As I was sitting here listening to you, I thought, geez, it's very similar because I was a nurse for 13 years and I had a drinking problem. I ended up losing my nursing career, ended up drunk and homeless, and knew that I needed a career change, but I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up at 42. So I ended up having to go to a career planning workshop to figure out what I liked, what I didn't like, because really all I knew was nursing. And after the 3-day test, the lady handed my sheet back and said, your aptitudes are to be a heavy equipment operator. I laughed so hard, I just about fell off my chair. I'm like, that's the most ridiculous career I've ever heard in my life. I said, I'm 42, I'm a woman. I don't even like equipment. I'm not mechanically inclined, and it's a man's job. And the lady puts one hand on her hip, gives me the look and says, if only you'd believe in yourself a little bit, missy, you'd see the test is right. Well, she ended up sending me to Women Building Futures, which is a women nonprofit organization here in Canada that gets women into the trades. And the day I walked in to check it out, lo and behold, ExxonMobil, the biggest oil and gas company in the world, happened to be there, and they were paying for the training to take a 12-week heavy equipment course. There's 170 women that applied. They were taking 16, and man, I had nothing left to lose. So you want me to do a backflip? I'll do a backflip. What do you want me to do? Sure.
Yeah, right.
Just to get it. And I got picked, and I did the course 9 years. And it's been 9 years now that I've been working here. It's been the best career change ever. And who says that you can't change careers in the middle of a lifetime?
That's right.
There's nothing set in stone that just because you do one job that you can't do something completely different.
Right. Yes. And sometimes the universe just hands you what you should be doing, right?
Exactly.
Yes. I didn't know what to do either. And, I went down to the university and like, okay, what do I want to do? And I said, all right, I always liked food and nutrition and interested in health. And so, okay, I'll do that. And it's worked out well.
And now you're helping women drivers, which is just fabulous.
Exactly. Yep.
I noticed in the 9 years that I've been here, there's only a 1% of women that are here. Like I think on our crew, we have 12 women out of 140 employees. But I find that the women have a different type of metabolism than the men. And the driving, sitting all day, because we work 12 and a half hour shifts. It's not easy. The nutritional aspect, there is a lot of diabetes. There is a lot of hormonal issues. There's a lot of weight gain because you sit for 12 and a half, 13 hours a day. You do 14 days in a row. A lot of women, like I have to personally include exercise in my schedule. I have to force myself to get up before work and hit the gym, even if it's for 30 minutes. So I alternate between running and yoga and stretching because we sit. I'm 52 now. Your body does not respond like it was when it's 20, right? So it's a common theme. So women struggle here. They really do.
Right. And women drivers still have women's issues. They still have PMS. They still struggling with a period every month, and all that goes with that. And then menopause is something else. There are many women who are coming into driving later in life. And so they're walking right into a new career and walking right into menopause. And I saw a statistic one time. I don't know exactly what it was. I don't remember numbers very well, but it was amazing how many women leave the workforce, women across the board, whether it's in industry or corporate life, leave the workforce because of menopause, because they just can't handle the menopause, symptoms. So, that's one of my driving, what's the word I want? I don't know. But to help women stay in the seat, stay in that driver's seat, and no matter what day of the month it is or what time it is in your life, that you're in that seat for the long haul for as long as you want to be.
So can you give me an example of that? Like, just because I might be using it myself, and like for all the women on my crew, how do you manage that? Is that like a diet change? Is that like, do you have to incorporate different things into your plan, or what?
Yeah, well, it's what you hear for so many other conditions, right? It's just trying to reroute your hormones. My advice is always, as far as optimal nutrition goes, is to eat what Mother Earth gave us. The good Lord gave us what we need to eat. It's in the produce aisle.
Right.
Trying to stay away from the processed foods and sugars. A lot of the chemicals that are in preservatives and processed foods are hormone disruptors. So that's where your
Really?
hormones become
I did not know that.
What ones are
Yes.
considered hormone disruptors that people should stay away from?
I couldn't tell you that right now off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
my advice is just try, do your best to try to stay away from the fast food and restaurant food, and living close to the earth.
Pastries and all that, right?
Right, yes.
Here, there's a whole section in our lunchroom that's only pastries and goodies and cookies.
Oh
and,
gosh,
yeah.
yeah, right. You need a dietitian up there.
We do. We so
Need a
do.
dietitian up there. And back to your question, Kathy, is fiber. We typically think of fiber as helping our bowels, but it takes fiber to, it's kind of a long process here, but it takes fiber to readjust your gut so that you have that good gut bacteria going on. And it takes a good, healthy gut to balance your hormones as well. So having an unhealthy gut is also a hormone disruptor. Some of the foods that I recommend are the ones that stink when you cook them, the cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower,
Cabbage.
cabbage, right, Brussels sprouts, all of those,
Brussels
yeah.
sprouts.
So
Yuck.
yeah.
I had a bad experience as a child with Brussels sprouts.
Oh, did you? Yeah,
Yes.
that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate.
But
And
so those are good for you then.
oh, absolutely. Right. Yeah. That's how you reroute your hormones, is just, the clean eating that you hear about, just trying to stay away from processed foods. And it's so hard for women drivers to do this, right? Because some of them can cook in their truck. Some of them have only refrigerators. Some of them just have a cooler, but that's how I work with them, is to, whatever their lifestyle is, whatever equipment or supplies that they have, just to try to help them stay out of the truck stops, stay out of the travel plazas, not eat that roller food, because it smells good, right? You walk in there and you smell fried chicken and hot dogs on the grill, and it seems like it's comfort food, but it's not. It's working absolutely the opposite way.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's a mindset frame change that you have to do. Like up here, it's very easy because we have our kitchen camp, because I live in a camp, but we're so far up north, and all the food is provided and cooked, and all the lunches are like, we have a big lunchroom. But if you fall into the traditional play, if you walk in from work, you're tired, and you eat what the kitchen is cooking, well, it's usually the same, not the greatest choices. But like for me, I have a severe gluten allergy. So I had to rearrange my whole diet plan. I had to rearrange my whole way of thinking in order to make this work. Like, because how am I going to sit here for 14 days with the food that they offer? So I brought myself a plug-in cooler at work. I have to bring a lot of my own gluten-free products because they don't offer it here. I have to rearrange my whole life around what is best for me and how I can make this work. And I'm sure a lot of women in the trucking industry would be the same, because I mean, not everybody has the same dietary needs. And I've been to those truck stops many a time, and I know what the kind of food that you're talking about. And then it's not the healthiest, but it is a comfort food. It's fastest, it's quickest, it's easiest. But a lot of times you have to rise above that and reshape your train of thought into what is best for me at this time, at this point in my life, right?
Yeah,
and I think it's a conscious gift as well, aligning and balancing.
Yep.
And one of the pieces of encouragement I give to drivers that I'm working with is to try it for 3 days, try it for 5 days, and you're going to notice that you just feel better. And hanging on to that feeling, of that idea of just feeling better physically and mentally, There's
Yeah.
research that shows that just increasing fruits and vegetables helps your brain. So it helps your mood, So,
Yeah.
talking about your mental health when you're out on the road, your diet has a lot to do with that too.
Oh, it does. It so does.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward is telling the story of the industry. Our safety champions, the women of trucking, independent contractors, the next generation of truckers, and more. Help us promote the best of our industry. Share your story and what you love about trucking. Share images of a moment you're proud of. And join us on social media. Learn more at truckingmovesamerica.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
So is the rule of thumb 5 to 7 fruits and vegetables a day a good rule, or should it be something different? Okay.
Yes, the American Cancer Society and the Heart Association both recommend a mix of 5, right? At least 5, 2 fruits and 3 vegetables, 1 fruit and 4 vegetables, something like that. 5 to 7 is even better. If you've ever heard of the DASH diet, and I have an ebook also that is available to women drivers. If they shoot me an email, I'll send it to them. And it's about blood pressure, 7 ways women drivers can lower their blood pressure while on the road. And I explained the DASH diet in my ebook. And the DASH diet was developed by the American Heart Association. DASH stands for Dietary Approaches to Stop Hypertension. And their recommendation is 5 to 7 fruits, 5 to 7 vegetables per day, plus a calcium, some kind of either dairy food or calcium supplements. So I mean that's a far cry from what most Americans are getting. So my advice is just start small. If you can do 2 fruits and 3 vegetables, they don't have to be cooked. Raw carrots, some celery, those kinds of things. Those count too.
So based on the cyclical nature that women have with their hormones and hormone changes every month, should they eat differently than men?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. Again, it's just trying, being aware of what those hormone disruptors are. I mean, not men have hormones too, right?
Right. And
men go through cycles in their life too, but they have maybe 6 or 7 cycles in a lifetime, and women have 1 every month,
Right.
So where our hormones are moving much faster than theirs are. My advice is similar to what I give to men. You have to lighten your load. Again, still living close to the earth, but talking about estrogen, because for women in menopause, it's a loss of estrogen, right? We're trying to find foods that will improve or enhance estrogen in some way. Right. And for women going through PMS, it's a little bit different there. We don't want them to have too much estrogen. So it's that estrogen balance. And knowing that the other advice I give to women with PMS is to track your schedule. Track your monthly period, so when PMS is going to happen. Most women know exactly the day they're going to start their period, but it's those 4 or 5 days before those PMS days that really will shake things up. So being aware of when your PMS symptoms are going to start, and taking care then. So one of the things I recommend is, and I break a lot of hearts here, but for those 5 days to stay away from caffeine. Cut back on your sugar.
I thought you were going to say chocolate.
No. Chocolate's
Don't take away my chocolate.
Chocolate is high in magnesium, so it can be beneficial. And you have those chocolate cravings. Women tell me, oh my gosh, I just want carbs. I only want carbs. And that is because your body knows that there is a lot of work to come. Your monthly period is work on your body. So your body starts craving carbohydrates because they're fuel. So you're fueling the mechanisms that, that cause your period. So, they have this little factory going on every month, and you have to fuel it properly. So That's one of the biggest pieces of advice I give to women is track your symptoms. Know when that's going to happen so that you're ahead of the game when your period happens.
What are better foods to eat specifically so that people can feel better for PMS or any kind of hormone changes? Obviously, it depends on your age group and so forth. It's going to change as to what your dietary needs would be.
I'm sticking with my chocolate.
Chocolate is actually, with the flavonoids and stuff, that it's terrific.
It is good, yeah. And it's, the darker chocolate is good for your heart, but and just be mindful of they say to eat some chocolate every day. So they're talking like 2 Hershey Kisses, right? That's how much you should be eating every day.
We can't eat the whole bag? Oh.
No. But to answer your question, Shelley, eating real food, of course, and especially eating foods that are high in vitamin B. Vitamin B is essential for PMS, and vitamin B is a nutrient that has to come from food, not from a supplement. I don't knock supplements; they have a place in our diet, but especially vitamin B, it should come from real food. That's how the good Lord made us, to get our nutrients from food, not from a supplement.
That makes sense. Because a lot of the supplements are synthetic and the body doesn't know what to do with it, right?
Right. Yeah. So vitamin B foods, excuse me, and then some supplements that a woman might think about considering would be vitamin E. It helps with breast pain that happens, might happen every month. The trick with vitamin E is you got to take it all the time. Because if you miss a month, you're going to notice that the next month that the breast pain is back again. So vitamin E is helpful. Vitamin D for mental health. We used to think about vitamin D just for, it goes with calcium to prevent rickets, but vitamin D is becoming a more essential nutrient for our mental health and as for your immune system as well. Especially, with COVID going on, it became a vitamin of choice.
Vitamin D3, it increases your energy too, which is interesting.
Yeah, it does. And along with nutrition, women have to be sleeping. As I said, when we get to this point where, our period is beginning and that work is happening, you have to rest. Your body needs to rest. Your brains regenerate and repair during our sleep cycle. So you have to rest and be ready for those hormonal shifts. So I'm telling women all the time, turn your phone off, turn the lights off, go to sleep, whether you're in a bunk or you're at home, it doesn't matter. Turn that phone off and make sure that you're getting plenty of sleep, especially at this time, when you're having your period. And for women who are going through menopause, right? Sleep is difficult. Hot flashes, insomnia. So, I work with them to help them find ways to stay cool at nighttime, whether it's an extra fan in your bunk or finding some cooler fabrics for sheets and pillowcases. Those little tips and tricks, they make a difference to help a woman get a good night's sleep.
Now, are there supplements that women can take for that? I know that a lot of women will talk about that, but is that helpful?
Melatonin is one. Okay. Melatonin can be helpful, yeah. But again, it's similar, and I try not to talk about supplements too much because they're not regulated by our government, right? You can't always trust one supplement to another supplement.
Sure.
And sometimes they have side effects. Like a lot of women are crazy for the black cohosh, but it causes your blood pressure to drop.
Ooh.
So that is not a good thing. Side effects, can be devastating. So if you're thinking about supplements, talk to your doctor, talk to a pharmacist, do your research on them. You can give me a call and I can, help you along there with those too. But I try not to push the supplements just because there's some I don't want to say liabilities, but you just can't trust them.
Sure. That makes sense. Now, you were talking about laying off the caffeine right before a menstrual cycle. I had heard that caffeine can actually aggravate menstrual cramps. What do women who deal with severe menstrual cramps, that's got to be terrible when you're on the road.
Oh, yes, for sure.
They do.
And it's funny because that's what my doll was, or still, back in the day, it was caffeine. And caffeine will help a headache, for people who have migraines. Caffeine either helps or hinders them.
Right.
It's all up to the individual. But for cramps, I recommend like some yoga stretches. There are yoga stretches that will help with just knowing what they are, so every month trying to, and we're not like doing calisthenics here. These are some easy stretches that a woman can do in her bunk, and you can all Google them if you want to. So making sure that you're doing some stretches, you have whatever it works for you, Tylenol or Advil, whatever helps you out. I think as a woman changes her diet, changes her lifestyle, the cramps will become less. We're never going to say that they go away, but we can certainly take the severity out of them so that you're not missing a day's work or turning down a load, or opportunity to drive further because your cramps are too bad. We don't want that to happen.
Yeah, because some women can get such severe symptoms that they're
They're incapacitated.
Oh,
yeah, right. Truly incapacitated. Yes.
And then other women are just perfectly fine and don't understand how that happens.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's the individual. Same with metabolism. If you're talking about weight loss, I think you had Dr. Tellerman was his name on a recent podcast. Teitelman, right?
Dr. Teitelbaum.
Yeah, Teitelbaum. Yep. Yes, I heard him, and I was. A lot of the things he said to you are the same things that I'm saying to women drivers. And one of them is that your metabolism is like your fingerprint.
Yeah.
Everyone's metabolism is different. The keto diet might work for one person, not going to work for another one. And I agree with what he said is you have to go by what makes you feel best. If keto diet works for you, okay. A vegetarian diet works for you, okay. Weight Watchers, which is more balanced, you have to find what works for you. And then through the course of a life, which is what Kathy was relating to earlier, is what worked for you at 25 isn't going to work for you at 52. So
that's right.
Acknowledging that as well.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for more of Women Road Warriors coming up.
Did you know that 80% of America's communities rely on trucking alone to deliver their goods? The trucking industry keeps America running thanks to the 3.6 million professional truck drivers traveling over 300 billion miles a year. Industry movement Trucking Moves America Forward, or TMAF, tells the story of trucking and its positive impact on our economy, communities, and lives. Learn how you can be part of the industry movement working to build a strong image of trucking by visiting truckingmovesamerica.com. Kathy Tuccaro is nothing short of amazing. She not only drives the world's biggest truck as a heavy equipment operator in northern Alberta, Canada. She's an international motivational speaker and the author of Dream Big, an autobiography about overcoming a lifetime of trauma and abuse that led to dreams of success. Kathy inspires people the world over to change their lives and improve their self-worth. Her book will change your life. She's passionate about personal growth and believes anyone can change their circumstances and overcome their obstacles if they believe in themselves. Her life will amaze you and seriously inspire you. Be sure to order a copy of her book, Dream Big, on Amazon.com.
Welcome back to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro.
So what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that women on the road have? Obviously, they've got different needs than men do. How can they take the best care of themselves, nutritionally and everything?
Just not falling for what everybody else is doing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to listen to your own body. There's a book called Intuitive Eating, and listening to your body, trying to understand what it needs. Does it need more protein? Do you feel like you need some carbohydrates? Are you thirsty? Sometimes we think we're hungry and we're not hungry, we're thirsty. So listening to your own body and not doing what Joe Schmo is doing out there, no matter how they try to tell you that this is the right thing to do, you are not Joe Schmo. So,
right.
That having that body awareness, and again, the cycles of life.
I don't think everybody listens to their body.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
like what I've noticed here, in my world up here in camp, a lot of the men, they'll come in after our 13-hour shift, and they're hungry, and like they'll get to the dining room right before we go to bed. So they'll load up their plate, they'll eat like bacon and sausage and eggs and toast and potatoes, and they have this huge heaping plate. And I walk by and I'm looking at them wolf down this food, and then they go to their room, and then they go to sleep for whatever 6 hours, then get back up and get up and go eat for supper. You know what I mean? Like there's a cycle. And when I look at that, I'm thinking, oh my God, if I would eat that, I would think I would die, because I have digestive problems. If I eat before I go to bed, I wake up and the food hasn't broken down. I have very few digestive enzymes in my stomach, so the food doesn't break down. It'll sit there like a rock. So I wake up and I'm still thinking, oh my gosh, right? So I cannot eat anything like other people eat. And I cannot compare myself, the way I digest food, to what, like you said, Joe Schmo digests food, because everyone's different, right? And you really do have to adjust. It's not just your dietary habits, but it's your mental state of looking at what you're eating and why you're eating it. And what I found, it's almost like a love affair with food, if you want to say, right?
Sure.
Right,
Sometimes
because
a love-hate relationship, right?
a love-hate relationship, yeah. Why can't I eat you?
Yes, exactly. Doggone it.
I want to eat you so bad, but I
And
can't.
why does it seem like all the perfect food is round? Pies, pizza, cake.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I know.
And you're right, Kathy. You have to know what is going to make you feel good. If I eat that, I'm going to feel really bad. So as a woman moves in more into clean eating and whole foods, they find that when they go back to eating pizza, or they have fried chicken, or the bacon burger, that they just feel awful. You just feel awful. Yeah, right. And the other thing that's important is, I recommend, is you try to, and again, depending on your driving life, if you're just driving, or do you have to unload? Were you going to drive 6 hours and then you have to unload your van? So will you need, how many calories will you need then? How much energy will you need then? But typically, my rule of thumb is to front load your day with your calories. Try to get your calories early in your day, and lighten your supper, so that when you do go to bed, you're going to sleep better. When we go to sleep at night, your brain is trying to make you go to sleep. But if you have a full belly, your brain then is trying to do two things, is trying to digest that food and let you go to sleep. So we end up tossing and turning there. And not feeling, yeah.
I know, like for me, how it works best is, like, when I wake up around 4 after the gym, I'll have a protein shake, and then whatever I eat, I bring with me in my work day. So I have like 12 and a half hours in my truck or my grader, whatever it is. And I don't, like, my last meal is at about 5:30, and I don't eat anything until 5:30 the next morning. So I give my body 12 hours, kind of like a fasting thing, that I don't nibble on food. I don't, cheat or anything. What are your thoughts on fasting? Because there's a lot of people nowadays that are following the intermittent fasting, and they do the 8 hours and then 16 hours or whatever it is. Do you think that works for truckers?
Again, yes, I think it would work for truckers, but it depends on your activity level. So intermittent fasting doesn't necessarily work for someone who is an athlete, or works out a lot, because you got to have that glucose in your system. But yes, intermittent fasting is very helpful for weight loss, for managing diabetes, just for your digestive system, because if you go 12 hours or 16 hours, the longer you can go without eating, your body starts to use fat for fuel rather than the toast or the protein shake, or something like that. It's not using glucose, it's using fat. So in a perfect world, depending again on what time your first meal is, waking up in the morning, if, just as an example, if you wake up at 6, but you don't eat until 10, then you've probably got that 16 hours, going on there. But the 8 hour window of food and 16 hours of fasting is the most effective and the most popular, but it depends on your lifestyle. But my encouragement for women is if you want to try intermittent fasting, just try backing up the clock. You know, if typically you eat at 7, then can you wait till 8? Can you wait till 9? Just trying to back it up a little bit gradually rather than starving themselves, you know, right off the bat.
And then getting hangry.
And getting hangry. God help us. Yes.
Mhm.
If you're hangry and you have PMS, you could, you know,
Ooh, that's a
probably
scary.
move
That's
mountains.
scary.
But yeah, but I am an advocate for intermittent fasting. Yes.
Yeah.
But, you know, and it isn't something that, you know, I mean, maybe it works for you 5 days a week, but not on the weekends. And that's okay. You know, give yourself some grace. Don't beat yourself up if you try something and you can't do it every day. Just, you know, do the best you can. Right.
Keep
There's
trying.
that 80-20 rule, you know, or 90-10 rule. If you're eating well 80% of the time
Mhm.
and not so well 20% of the time, that's okay. It's still better than not eating well, you know, the opposite.
So what does fasting do? Does it reset the body?
It makes it more effective at using energy.
Okay.
Just more effective at using energy. And also you're giving your digestive system a break, right? So it's not constantly working. Back in the day, we were talking about, you know, small frequent meals throughout the day. And again, for some people, that is what works for them, especially people with IBS. The small frequent meals throughout the day works for them. But now I have the conversation with women, you know, what have you found that works for you? Do you do best with the small frequent meals, or, you know, can you go a long time without eating anything and still feel good?
I know for me, it's definitely small, frequent meals. Well, because of my gluten allergy that just started a couple years ago, I had to reassess my whole entire eating habits and lifestyle choices. And I also became dairy intolerant. Dairy is a big thing. And so now I eliminated meat, and now I'm vegan, and I do small frequent meals, and it helps me stabilize like while I'm operating equipment here at work. And it works best for my digestive issues. So, but some people it doesn't work, right? Some people need that the one solid one, and then they skip hours of eating. And I personally, I can't do that. It just doesn't work. So you really do have to find what works best for you, because we are all so completely different that, right? You have to really, and it's also a mindset too, and how you wish to view what you're doing and why you're doing things.
Yes. And for many truck drivers, male and female, you know, they try to go just one meal, right? Eat one huge giant meal because you don't want to take the time to stop again. And I totally understand that. But my encouragement there is to still try to break it up somehow, you know, and also with intermittent fasting, it's not just the fact that you're not eating for so many hours. You still have to be aware of how many calories you're taking in and the quality of the food that you're consuming.
That's correct.
For IBS and things like that, conditions like that, is yogurt good? Would you recommend, you know, they talk about the probiotics and all of those things. Is that effective for gut health?
Well, gut health can come from like what Kathy's doing. There's a book out called Fiber Fueled, Kathy, you might want to look into. And it is, it again is talking about your gut and your microbiome and keeping that healthy bacteria in your gut. So to answer your question, Shelley, yogurt works for some people, but yogurt isn't the only place where you're going to get those good live active cultures. Kombucha is a fermented tea, and I have not seen it in a travel plaza, but I see it in almost every grocery store right now. So kombucha is a great way to get those good health live cultures easily. The thing about kombucha is you have to keep it cold. Once it gets warm, the live active cultures will die off. It starts with the K, Kombucha, kombucha.
I've seen that actually in stores, some health food stores. Actually, I've seen that.
Interesting. Does it taste good?
It has I don't want to say a vinegary taste, but that's kind of what the first bite is going to taste like. That like the first swallow is going to be like, oh my gosh, what is this? But keep trying, keep trying. The second or third taste is going to be better. And then remember, there are different brands making different varieties. My favorite one is called Hum. I don't know if you can get it across the country, but kombucha is a power food. So it's very good for your gut. And also don't try to drink it all at one time. I would say drink half a bottle one day, put it in the refrigerator, drink the other half of the bottle the next day.
And should this be a daily?
I don't know, daily, a couple times a week.
Okay.
A couple times a week, yes. Fermented foods are awesome for your gut bacteria and for settling things like IBS.
Yep.
So you get, you can get fermented foods, pickles that have not been cooked, like Clausen pickles are a fermented food. Sauerkraut also, again, as long as it's not cooked, because if they cook it in the can, then it's losing its live active cultures. And yogurt, yogurt works. Kefir also, so kefir, Kefir, comes like in a bottle near where you get yogurt, has many, many more live active cultures than yogurt will have if you can tolerate dairy.
Okay. Yeah. And a lot of people can't. I think that they're lactose intolerant or they actually have a dairy allergy.
That dairy allergy, right.
And I can relate. I had a ton of food allergies as a child. I still have some sensitivity to dairy products. I have to be careful how much I eat, but I listen to my body. Soy is a real problem for me. I was
is it?
At the age of 14, I was admitted to the hospital on a suspected appendicitis, and it was actually soy.
No kidding. Yes.
Yeah.
And soy is one of the things I recommend for women in menopause, whether it's soy milk or tofu or edamame, something like that, for menopausal women is helpful. But if you can't take it, you can't take it.
Well, it depends on the form of soy. If it's soy lecithin, it's all right. But if it's soy flour, oh boy, not at all.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I totally understand reading ingredients. I've been doing that since I was a child, It's in here.
It's in there, right? Yes. I worked with a driver one time who she and her doctor could not get her thyroid balanced, right? They were juggling medications and it just wasn't working. And so then she found out she had a soy allergy and she started reading ingredients. And all of a sudden her thyroid numbers just balanced out. So that is one thing that she didn't realize and the doctor didn't realize is that for some people, soy interferes with thyroid medications.
Interesting.
So,
Interesting.
Yeah, if you're having trouble getting your thyroid balanced out, you might want to start reading labels like Shelley does. It's worth a try.
And I think a lot of doctors aren't necessarily as skilled in nutrition.
No.
I agree.
Doctors study medicine. They don't study nutrition.
But it's so important. That's what the body runs on.
Exactly.
Manufacturers, when they make vehicles, know what kind of fuel needs to go into them. You think doctors,
Yes. I worked with a cardiologist one time who said that when he was in medical school, he had 1 hour of nutrition. 1 hour.
Wow.
Yes. So, people go to their doctor looking for nutrition advice, and they're not saying all of them, but many of them are just not versed on nutrition. You need a dietitian. And here in the United States, you can read a book on vitamins and call yourself a nutritionist. So you have to be careful there. You want to make sure that if you're seeking nutritional counsel, that it is someone who has a degree in nutrition, a registered dietitian. So just be aware.
Yeah.
And I know of people that have gone to like diet clinics and so forth, and then they're put on a special diet and the stuff constipates them. And in my head, it goes, that can't be good. The body's reacting the wrong way, right?
Yes. And, that's a conversation I have with a lot of drivers. Constipation is an issue for women on the road. And again, it comes down to hormones, right? PMS can cause constipation. Menopause can cause constipation. But women, they're not moving very much, right? In their trucks. They don't drink enough water because, oh, good God, I might have to stop and go to the bathroom. And not eating enough fiber, not getting enough fiber in their diets, or they're eating the processed foods, which will just bind them up. So, we talk a lot about poop. It's a very hot topic. in my counseling sessions. And it should be, we should all be talking about that. I think there's actually a commercial out now that is addressing, that women go to the bathroom. It's just part of life. Yeah, we don't talk about it, but women are very quick to talk about their periods, but not so quick to talk about their bowel habits. And it really should be a more regular part of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also even like the stopping, women don't drink enough water because they don't want to go to the bathroom. I see that here all the time. There's actually been quite a few coworkers, because where I work in the mine, you only have, I think there's 3 places where you can go to the bathroom. Well, it's a big mine and you have to kind of go out of your way to stop the truck. Well, that stops production. And so then they actually, there's a timer. They watch how often you stop and how many minutes you're stopped, right? So a lot of women don't want to, so they hold it off. Well, next thing you know, we have bladder infections and we have kidney problems, and there's a few they get so severe bladder infections because they're holding it and holding it and holding it. Well, then the kidneys back up, and just one girl actually had to go get dialysis because it was so severe.
Goodness.
And so, and I tell all the ladies, I said, they cannot tell you not to stop to go to the bathroom. That is, against our legal right. You gotta go, just go.
That's right.
Don't hold it,
Right.
My goodness.
And so then, the conversation is, when you get out of the truck, start drinking water, all right, now I have to go during the night. Now I'm getting up during the night and going.
Yeah.
But, and many women drivers on the road have their own little potty, a little camper potty or something with them in the truck. And, if that's what you have to do, that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Right. But hydration is an issue, and it's just one big cascade of life on the road. You have to learn how to work around it.
And is the rule of thumb still 8 to 10 glasses of water a day?
Actually, 64 ounces, right? We used to hear that, 64 ounces. And, I've talked to men and women who I know are over 300 pounds, and they're telling me they drink 64 ounces of water a day. Well, the bigger a person is, the more tissue they have. So, here's another rule of thumb, like it or not. The recommendation is you take your weight, divide it in half, and that's how many ounces of water you should drink. But there is a threshold there. You should not be drinking 200 ounces of water a day, but the more knowing that the more tissue you have, the more water you need. So 64 ounces is not across the board for everyone.
Okay. Good to know. We have just under 2 minutes here, Lynda. I want people to know where they can reach out to you, where they can find more information. You're just a wealth of information about nutrition and things that ladies need to know.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I have an email address is bewelldriven@gmail.com, bewelldriven. And then my website is welldrivennutrition.com.
So there'll be information there that women can get, and they can reach out with questions, because like you said, it's an individual basis. You could maybe even tailor something to some of the women drivers based on their needs.
Absolutely. That's the crux of my business is, individualized counseling for your body, your age, your lifestyle. Like I said, some women just drive all day, and some drive, get out, unload, get back in the truck, drive some more, so individualized to the woman and her job. I'm on Facebook. I have a Facebook page that is Well Driven Nutrition, and also on Instagram too. So you can look for me there. And I have an ebook, and it's the 7 ways that women truck drivers can lower their blood pressure. And really, the advice that's in the blood pressure book, it goes across the board for so many other conditions as well. So it's worth having and reading, and it's free if you just email me.
Excellent. I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, Lynda. You're a wealth of information, and I hope that some women drivers reach out to you, because you've got some great answers, and that's what we're looking for. We don't want to be lumped together in some baseline. It's like, what is going to help me, Exactly,
right. And I just want to thank you, ladies, both of you. The reason that your shows are so successful here is you just have this aura of love and kindness and integrity, It just comes through for the interviewer, for the interviewee, and for all the drivers that you serve. It certainly is a pleasure. I've enjoyed listening to the recorded podcast that you have, but definitely love is first place. You love what you do, and you love who you serve. So thank you for that.
Thank you,
Oh,
Linda,
thank
for that
you.
wonderful compliment. And yes, we're here to help, and we love our drivers, and we want to help wherever we can.
Right. And I want to give one more little detail about Shelley that you all probably don't know.
Mhm.
She is a supersonic typist. Because I heard her typing before we started the show here, and she has the fastest fingers in the U.S.
Oh, thank you.
Shelley rocks in every way. She does.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
thank you. I appreciate that very
She can
much.
get it done for sure.
Get her done. Like Yo-Yo says, get her done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Linda. It's been a pleasure
Yeah.
having you on the show here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Pleasure
thank
getting to
you.
know both of you. And thank you for all you do for our women drivers.
You've been listening to Women Road Warriors with Shelley Johnson and Kathy Tuccaro. If you want to be a guest on the show or have a topic or feedback, email us at info@tncradio.live.
Thank you for listening to another great interview on tncradio.live. All of the material you hear on tncradio.live on our website, our broadcasts, or our podcasts are copyrighted. There can be no distribution without the express consent of tncradio.live and its partners. For inquiries, write us at info@tncradio.live.